let's turn a bunch of old cans into the most charming pocket planners you've ever seen. In this DIY tutorial, I'll show you how to transform discarded tin cans into adorable pocket planners, perfect for small plants, herbs, or succulents. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc., and welcome to my channel. If you guys are ready, gather up your old cans, my crafty friends, and let's make a mess. I'm using a plain can that canned vegetables or fruit come in. I remove the label and wash the can with soap and water. You have to use a can that the lid can be removed on both ends. Some are rounded at the bottom and you won't be able to remove that end of the can. I smashed the bottom as much as I could and then used some pliers in the corners to get them smashed as much as possible. They make special can openers that open a can from the side and not the top. This way you don't have any sharp edges that could cut you. I'll leave you a link in my description box below. I also smashed it a little bit at the top to lessen the opening. Now I'm going to use a hammer to get it as tight at the bottom as possible. Then I drilled a hole in each side for a hanger. If you don't have a drill, you could always hot glue some ribbon as a hanger. I'm going to brush on Polyvine's multi-surface lacquer. This is a great primer for any shiny surface, such as glass or ceramic, and in this case, a tin can. I'm using the dead flat finish because I want to remove the shine. This will give paint or decoupage glue a great surface to adhere to. Paint won't chip, scratch, or peel. For best results, I'll let this dry overnight. Now I'm giving the can a coat of white paint and I'm using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Cotton. Dixie Belle is my favorite chalk paint. It goes on so smooth and creamy and has such great coverage. I'm going to be decoupaging a napkin on this can, so the base color needs to be white. Make sure you always paint white or a very light off-white wherever you're going to decoupage rice paper or a napkin. White allows the colors in your images to look more vibrant. Dark colors will make your images look dark and muddy. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. My crafty friend Gail S. from New Mexico wanted to see a smashed can video, and my crafty friend Mary H. wanted to see something shabby chic. I combined both of these with this project. Gail and Mary, this video is for you. I'm removing one of the squares of the napkin and then separating the 3 layers of the napkin, as I'm only going to be using the very top one with the print on it. If you delicately scratch the corner of the napkin with your nail, they will separate easily. I'm going to separate some of the flowers in this napkin for my project, so I'm not going to use the entire square. I'm separating out the flowers I intend to decoupage with my water brush. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. You can find this in my description box below, in my favorite tools section, just in case you want to check it out. I'm removing as much of the background as I can by tearing the napkin around the image. The closer to the image you can tear it, the better. You always want to tear your rice paper or napkin instead of cutting it. A torn edge is much easier to blend than a sharp cut edge. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. It's fun to see what cities and countries you are all watching from. I'm filming from Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. I'm going to decoupage this napkin using the water method. This method gets rid of all wrinkles and bubbles, giving you a flawless decoupaged image. I'm laying my prepped image on a cut piece of a Ziploc bag upside down, so the good side of the image is touching the plastic. Now I'm spraying it with some water, a lot of water. Once the water hits the napkin, it begins to swell and get larger. I am delicately pulling on the edges to remove any of the large wrinkles and bubbles that the swelling napkin caused. I'm pulling from all directions, but only from the edge and not the center of the napkin. If your napkin doesn't move easily, add more water or you'll tear your napkin. The water is what makes it easy to move around on the plastic. Don't worry, the water isn't going to hurt it. The water helps the adhesive wick into the napkin to create a great bond. Now I'm adding my decoupage adhesive to the front of the can. I'm using Polyvine's Decorator's Varnish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive. All the Polyvine formulas can double as a decoupage adhesive. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue. It's not a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. I'm lifting up the plastic with the wet napkin on it, flipping it over and laying it on the can. Napkin down and plastic up. I'm brushing over the plastic and pressing with a paper towel to make sure that the napkin settles inside all the grooves in the can. Now I'm very carefully lifting up the plastic from the bottom corner. Then I went over the napkin with more of the varnish very carefully to make sure all the edges were glued down. This will need to dry for several hours. As it dries, the napkin will shrink back to what it was before the water. As a result, if there are any minor wrinkles, the shrinking will pull them out. There is some excess napkin hanging over the can at the bottom. It just pulled off very easily because the napkin is wet. I'm using DOS clay to make a couple of little embellishments for the top and bottom of the can. I'm adding the clay to the mold and scraping off the excess with a palette knife. I'll smooth it out with some water and then pop it in the freezer for about 20 minutes. Freezing it makes the clay remove so much easier, especially on a fragile mold. The clay becomes hard, so it just pops out of the mold unharmed. If you want to see an in-depth tutorial on how to work with air dry clay, click the banner in the top right corner. I will also leave a link for that video in my description box below. Here we go, fresh out of the freezer. Look how easy this just pops out of the mold with no breakage. I'm adding glue and setting it to my tin can while the clay is still wet. I'm using Aleene's Tacky Glue. It's my favorite for gluing wet clay. I dipped my brush in water, which helps the glue spread a lot easier. I put one at the top and one at the bottom, and I'll let the clay dry overnight. It's important that you glue the clay on your piece while it's still wet. The clay will dry to the form of your object. The background of this napkin is a cream color, and I painted the can white so my colors would look vibrant. So now I need to fill in all the white areas with a cream paint. I'm using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Drop Cloth. I'm using a dabbing motion to put my new color as close to the napkin images as possible so that everything blends together. I'm also painting my clay pieces that same color. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes, and now I'm giving the entire piece a coat of Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish in a satin finish. I'm going to be doing some antiquing, and I need a shine to be able to do the antique properly. I let it dry for an hour and then added a second coat for the best protection from moisture, heat, and UV rays. I let that dry for another hour before moving on. Even if you want a matte finish, put 2 coats of satin on first, then the matte. The properties that make this product moisture, heat, and UV resistant are more concentrated in the satin finish, so this will give you the best protection. It's time to do some antiquing. I mixed about a teaspoon of glazing medium with a tiny bit of light brown paint to make my antique. I like to make my antiques because you can use any color paint to make it. You can really get some great effect. I'm brushing this on and then wiping off the excess. It will wipe off the surface but stay in all the cracks and crevices. This is the reason why you need to add a gloss first. If not, the antique will grab onto the paint and you won't be able to wipe any of it off. The glazing medium makes the paint not dry as quick, so you have a longer work time. I did the clay embellishments first and then added a little bit of the antiquing to the can so it would settle in the grooves. Antiquing adds such a vintage, shabby chic look to this little can. I'm using some of the white paint to do some dry brushing. This will add some highlights. To dry brush, dip just the edge of your brush in the paint and wipe it off. Then wipe your brush on a napkin. This will give you a true dry brushing appearance. The less paint on your brush, the better. This way you won't leave any large amounts of paint on your project. Very gently with just the tip of the brush, drag it across your piece. I did the clay embellishments in the can as well. This really defined all the grooves in the can. You can keep adding layers until you're happy with the way it looks. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes and now I'm giving it a final coat of the decorator's varnish in a dead flat finish. I rarely want a flat finish and almost always use heavy duty wood varnish in the satin, but with this project I thought a flat finish would be more vintage. But I have complete protection from moisture, heat, and UV rays because I added 2 coats of the satin finish earlier. I'm adding some twine for a hanger. I put it through the holes and tied a knot. I made 2 little bows out of the twine to put over the knot on each side. I put artificial flowers in this can, but if you intend to put any live plants, you'll need to seal the bottom so you don't get water all over. I would add some hot glue from the inside at the bottom. I'm working on some great spring projects right now. A lot of them are requests that I'm excited to be making. I love planning projects around your requests. Just please be patient. I get quite a few of them, and I get the projects out as quickly as I can. I love hearing about what you'd like to see, so keep those requests coming. Now I added a small piece of florist foam in the can, and then covered the top of it with moss. I added some beautiful flowers in purple and white. There is a purple flower just like this in the napkin. I think it's a type of hydrangea, but I'm not sure. If you know what type of flower this is, please send me a comment. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I added some cute artificial baby's breath and then one more purple one for the front. I put together a playlist of some other tutorials you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that playlist. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.